Hey guys, today's video is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to. I'm sharing 6 tips that helped me achieve a 4.0 GPA as a pre-law major studying business law. Now, I know some people might be thinking, hey, I'm not a pre-law major. Are these tips going to work for me? And yes, they are. These tips are going to be broad enough to the point where they could apply to pretty much everybody. And, just so you guys know that I'm not capping, I'll link my GPA somewhere up here just for proof. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, my first tip for you guys is to choose a major that you're genuinely interested in. The reason for this is that it's a lot easier to get up and study when you're actually passionate about what you're learning. To use me as an example, I chose to major in business law because I knew that I wanted to go to law school, and I knew that, I wanted to do something in either personal injury or corporate law, and I wanted to have a foundation of the intersection between business and law that would help me as I navigated law school, right? So that made the studying I did in college actually worth it. I felt like I was actually working towards something. So whatever major you choose to study in college, it needs to be something that you're passionate about, something that you feel like can help you in your future endeavors, and something that you just genuinely won't want to end your life while doing. Because if you just hate it, you're not going to want to do it. It's just that simple. Okay, my second tip for you guys, after you've chosen a major that you're genuinely passionate about and interested in, you need to set a clear goal and a vision for how you want college to go, right? So if you want that 4.0, you need to set out that goal before you even start studying, right? I mean, a lot of people have the mentality of saying, once I see myself doing something, that's when I'll believe, right? But you kind of want to flip that. You want to change it to, okay, I will believe, and because of my belief, I know that I'll see. Right? And so once you set out this belief that you're going to get this 4.0 and you make it a goal to get that 4.0, then your actions will align with that goal, right? And then as time goes on and let's say you have a bad test or let's say you don't want to study, right? You'll be able to go back to that goal and it will help keep you motivated and focused. Okay, now it's time for tip number 3. After you have chosen a major that you're genuinely passionate about and you've set a clear goal, now it is time to create a schedule that works for you. In practice, this means identifying if you're a morning person or a night person. This means, if you work, trying to tailor your studies around your work. If you do any volunteer or any internships, right? Seeing when you do those activities and then tailoring your studies around that, right? And then just seeing when you're going to be at your most productive, right? So if you're most productive in the morning, then you're probably going to want to do your studies in the morning. If you're most productive at night, you're going to want to do your studies at night, right? But then after you find that schedule and you find what works for you, you're going to want to keep going back to it, right? Just get that consistency, right? Because then you'll have a schedule, it'll be orderly, you won't have to think too much, and your unconscious mind will take over and you'll be rocking from that point. So find a consistent schedule that works for you. And adding on to that, once you find that schedule that works for you, this will allow you to know when to get all your assignments done, and you can kind of prioritize getting your assignments done early so that you have more time to devote to studying for a test or working on topics that are challenging or hard for you. So you always want to be getting your assignments done early as well, and creating that schedule will allow you to do that. Okay, now it's time for tip number 4, and this is going to come after obviously you've chosen a major that you're genuinely interested and passionate about, you've set a clear goal, you've created a schedule that works for you. And this 4th step, what you're going to want to do is utilize office hours, which means, going to meet with your professors. They'll usually have Zoom meetings where they can kind of help you out and, kind of fill in gaps where you're struggling with things and concepts, that will help you attest. But then also utilizing the study guides that they make, right? Most teachers, when they give those study guides, the tests that they give out are going to be really exactly like that. So you're going to want to be using that so that when you're studying exactly what's going to be on the test. And then you're going to want to be going to office hours because, when you're going to office hours, it shows the teacher that you actually care. So they might look at you more favorably. So let's say it's the end of the year and you're really close to that A, they might bump you up, but then also you can just learn right from the horse's mouth. So you're going to want to utilize going to office hours and you're going to want to be using those study guides. All right, so for these final 2 tips, they're not really in any order, right? But it's going to consist of taking advantage of that extra credit. I mean, the importance of the extra credit is that it can really be a GPA booster, right? You could have gotten a B without it, but because you did that extra credit, it can bump you up to an A. And it can really be free points depending on, how tough the work is. And it's usually really not that tough. So if your professor is giving out extra credit, you need to make sure that you're, utilizing that and actually doing that extra credit. And finally, my last tip for you guys is to get sleep and keep a balance. And what I mean by this is don't make school your entire life. Make sure that you have other things going on. I mean, watch a movie every once in a while, hang out with friends, go on a run, touch grass. Like, do other things besides school, because this is gonna, allow you to rest and refresh so that when you come back to your studies, you can actually do good work, right? Same when it comes to sleeping, right? When you get that full 8 hours, you're gonna be fresh and rejuvenated for when you're doing your work, right? And you're not gonna, need to drink 10 cups of coffee a day. So that is that last tip. And this honestly should have been the first tip. It might be the most important. Really, I can't stress enough how important it is to get sleep and keep a good balance. That said, we've reached the end of the video, and now you guys have all the tips you need to go out there and get that 4.0 GPA. So guys, comment down below, what do you think of these tips, and what's your major? And tell me, are you gonna get that 4.0 GPA?